Hello and welcome to Sword and Board Presents. The board will be with you, always. I'm Luke, and as with me as always is my best friend Matt. This is our deep dive alternate audio commentary for every theatrical release Star Wars film. This week we are braving 2008 Star Wars The Clone Wars, not Attack of the Clones. This is a little different. This is a little different than all of our normal podcasts. It's going to be an audio commentary. We'll tell you when to sync up with the film. If that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, totally understand. Join us for when we've got something else to talk about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you, you're going to start this track when the Lucasfilm starts, and that's when we're going to start talking. That should get you matched up pretty close to what we're doing. So Matt's going to press play. Lucasfilm. So it's been a while since I've seen this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to ask, let the cat out of the bag, but I have not watched this film since the first time you and I saw it in theaters, and I think you had
and we nearly walked out.
Well, yeah, but I want to say, you had pointed this out, that this is probably the only theatrical Star Wars movie we ever saw together, in theaters.
We may have seen the special editions when they came out, but maybe. I don't remember that.
I think you were in New Orleans probably when those came out, right?
I either was about to move or had just moved down there.
Got it.
I remember thinking this was hard to get through the first couple of minutes. But
it was just so different. It's like it was a lot to take in, I guess is the best way to put it, because
yes.
It's certainly, just from the get-go, it's like, you don't even see the usual crawl, right? And so
that was what killed it.
Yeah,
for me.
And it's just like, what is this WB doing? And also just this plot dump, and you're like, what? Why are we talking about Hutts? This is the Clone Wars. But yeah, this is.
And Jabba the Hutt's big cleft chin.
I was gonna say he's just a big old thumb. Yeah, I don't know. Big old thumb. But yeah, it's pretty exciting to see what this movie has in store.
Because I've been rewatching Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, and that is varying quality, but also incredible highs.
Yeah.
And first couple of seasons, they have some low episodes, but it does capture the feel of Star Wars really well.
Yeah, I want to say a lot of folks who are super hardcore into this series say it's probably some of the best Star Wars out there, which is kind of saying something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be honest. I think I got through the first couple of seasons, and certainly I do remember some standout episodes, but it wasn't like anything to write home about at that time. I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then I kind of dropped off, and then of course I heard it got canceled, and then it got picked back up, and then people were just raving about it. I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, I've been trying to get back into it, but that Disney Plus kind of, that subscription, stops, and you're just like, whoops, I meant to watch that, but maybe next time.
Well, I'm glad that I have access to Disney Plus. Because there's a lot of stuff on there, but what's really frustrating about the Clone Wars, the first 3 seasons of Clone Wars, is it's not in chronological order.
It isn't? I didn't even know that.
Oh, it's terribly out of chronological order.
Oh,
and it's really hard. Because that's why this movie feels a little disjointed, because this movie is 3 or 4 episodes of the cartoon stitched together. They're not actually episodes of the cartoon, but it's clearly like they made a Star Wars movie out of episodes of the cartoon.
Of course, to do a little prep, because, I didn't want to come in completely blind and unprepared. I was of course, perusing the Wikipedia article, and it was it was some of the greatest quotes I've ever read in Wikipedia was essentially George Lucas was he saw the first few episodes that Dave Filoni had put together, and he was like, "This is beautiful. Why don't we go and use the crew and make a feature?" And then I guess they did, and later on it says Lucas described the film as almost an afterthought. And then Howard Rothman, president of Lucas Licensing, said the decision, "Sometimes George works in strange ways."
Yeah.
So it's just so it's so perfect. This was just probably the plot for a few episodes, and he was like, yeah, let's make a movie, it's gonna be great. And then he's like, so George, what do you think of the Clone Wars, the movie? And he's like, what? What is that?
Well, because this movie, where this takes place in the series, is maybe 10 episodes into the series.
So wait, I don't remember. Is this? I thought it was this movie where Ahsoka gets assigned to.
Yep,
So,
this is the first
oh,
appearance of her. She doesn't show up for like chronologically. She doesn't show up for a while in the series.
I mean,
And
this part is actually a pretty good introduction to like a lot of the characters in the scene and
yeah,
like the what's kind of going on in the universe right now. But then it just kind of cuts into the Jabba the Hutt plot, and you're like, is this just Attack of the Clones again, where it's like you're just on B plot the whole movie that and just kind of not doing anything? And I don't know. But for a show or a movie that's called the Clone Wars only I think happens for like the first couple of minutes, and then the rest is like we have to save a baby Hutt,
yep.
and it's like okay, I don't know.
Well, I love this bit. He decides to punch a droid and breaks his
I
hand,
thought it was kind of comedic but stupid and tragic at the same time.
and yet Cody somehow can kick a dude in the face and
Yeah.
not have his foot break. But Cody also has a name.
Yes, yeah. I always like Cody a little bit more than Rex until, of course, Revenge of the Sith where he becomes like the worst, right?
Exactly.
But I don't know.
In the trailer for Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga,
Hmm.
they're in Obi-Wan's house. There's a picture of Obi-Wan and Cody arm in arm, like singing, and it's like, oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, it is a little sad because of the implications. So I want to say, so is this incarnation of Obi? Because I know you're a big Obi-Wan in Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper armor. Is it done better here, or is it done better in Clone Wars? Because of course, I mean, I might as well just bring it up. I mean, we're gonna compare this to Clone Wars, the animated show. The far superior. I'm just kidding. I like it in its own way, and of course, it's not even canon now, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I think it also too it was developed just to sell toys or promote the movies, or I forget exactly what it is, but
it was also allowed to be its own thing. It didn't
yeah.
have to sell the universe, and it could just be 5-minute shorts. So
Yeah.
it didn't have to sell an entire series.
That was the
It
wild
didn't have
thing.
to sell.
Yeah, that was the wild thing. Is it was like played between commercials or something. Well, obviously all shows do that, but I mean it was just played almost like just quick snippets. And I want to say because I didn't have cable growing up, and I almost want to say you taped them for me. And
I think I did.
And I had them on VHS, and I used to just watch it. I watched them all together, and I loved it that way. But yeah, I didn't even occur to me that they were all like their own kind of self-contained thing. And I'm sure the second season less so, right? When it became more of
Right.
like a TV
Those
show.
are like those are like 15-minute episodes.
Right.
And I haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I remember enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But it also was kind of I love that
it was
all
kind
of
of
the
Looney
Jedi
Tunes is what it was, but it was great
Yes.
in that capacity, right? It was just like
Yeah, all of the Jedi are the same character model except for their heads.
yeah.
And Ahsoka.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because I know everyone raves about her now, and of course in The Mandalorian she's pretty cool and other media, but
Right.
yeah, this introduction was just like, oh my god. But you got to give it to this team here that took like a very hated character and completely turned it around, and now I guess she's like one of fan favorite.
Yeah.
It's just wild. I also cannot get past Anakin's face. It's just such a little pouty Gerber baby face. I can't. Like everybody else's face is fine, but like his face, just the nose, I don't know. I just can't get over it. And that's good. Like I like how this show does its own thing, has its own style. I'm perfectly fine with that. But yeah, some of the faces are kind of meh.
What I love about this is the art style, specifically how it's not shiny. All CGI has a kind of sheen to it, except for this one.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it's all made out of stone.
It's like textured for sure.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a wildly different art style from everything else that exists.
Right, and again,
See.
I'm totally appreciate how it had its own kind of flavor and did its own thing. But again, I guess I'm a little prejudiced because, of course I collected, you know me, I collected some of the toys, And I don't know,
Yeah.
far inferior toys in my opinion. They were just flimsy and like weird,
Yes, they were.
weirdly proportioned. And I'm like, I want the cool ones that have more Well, I guess they technically had more articulation, but
Well,
I won't
did
go
you
down
see
that.
like they made like 5 toys for the animated series, and they were even weirder proportions.
Yeah, I don't even remember those, but yeah, Mace Windu always had kind of a strange face about him in that show, but
Yeah.
another giant feat that they did was make Anakin a little more like charming in the show.
Yes.
Not like from the get go, but as the series went on, I remember like he wasn't
funny
just
you mentioned.
annoying little whiny baby.
Yeah, because he seems to, like, both him and Obi-Wan are just have people falling over each other to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really funny. I got to an arc where he is now trying to like fight / be seduced by a slaver, and it's really strange to watch because the slaver's kind of a cat person.
What?
It's really good. It's really
my
compelling
God.
television.
Wait, is that the weak way guy? Or is that
Mm-mm.
that's the pirate? What's the pirate's guy? The weak way pirate.
Oh God.
Bando, something.
Hondo.
Yeah, Hondo. That's right.
Yeah.
Fake fan. I don't know everything about Star Wars. Yeah, and then of course, we talked about Rex and Cody earlier, but I know as the season went on, and I remember one episode of the first 2 seasons really stood out as the one where I think there were like a band like stranded clones, and they were all like trying to get back to their unit or something, and they all had very distinct personalities. And I think
Yeah.
this show did a pretty good job of kind of giving them their own. I mean, they're all clones, right? So they're all, almost identical, except they take their helmets off and they have like different haircuts and shit and tattoos,
Yeah.
personalities.
And then as the series goes on, their tattoos get weirder and weirder, and their personalities tend to not necessarily diverge, but you can basically everyone's name describes their personality, except for Rex and Cody.
Right. And remind me, I think Rex. I don't remember the lore. I always get him confused with a different clone, but because they're both blue guys with skirts, But I almost want to say he was like an ARC trooper who had like less of the programming, to make him less of a one-note character. What? Fives?
Maybe.
I don't know, null
What?
clones. But anyway, So I guess it makes sense in like an in-universe way why like the rank and file dudes have like barely any character because they're all just like bred to be like fodder, right? Whereas unfortunately, as you go up the chain, they have less of that. They're more independent
And Rex may or may not be the guy from Return of the Jedi.
I think it was
from Return of the Jedi.
it might have gone back and forth, but last I heard, I think it was confirmed it wasn't him. But he is in Rebels. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
He survives, but these stupid tank things.
The wheel tanks are dumb, but the regular tanks are awesome.
Yes.
But the floaty tanks are awesome.
They are. Yeah. This dude's pretty cool. Like, and that's another thing. The character, like the bad dudes, have all kind of doofy characters. It's great.
Well, the
droids though. I mean, love them or hate them, they get real obnoxious with their hijinks. I know we go into droid hijinks sometimes with these. Like, just stop with the hijinks. The shenanigans. The tomfoolery.
I appreciate that this crystal planet. That is something that the show and this movie do well. Is that there are a wide variety of places that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And that's like a big thing about this place is it's a crystal-y place.
The brash move.
Yeah.
I think all the voice acting's pretty good in this.
Yeah, I find James Arnold Taylor's great.
Mm-hmm. Matt something does Anakin? I forget his name.
I have no idea.
I forget.
I only know James Arnold Taylor because he does Titus from Final Fantasy X.
Blech.
And he also does Leonardo in one of the Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh, nice. Funny thing is, they actually got Sam Jackson and Christopher Lee for this movie.
Yeah,
and of course Anthony Daniels. He does everything. But
yeah, Anthony. Well, I don't know if Anthony Daniels Does he do any other movies?
I don't know. He might have done some stage plays. They're probably all Star Wars stage plays, but yeah.
Have you seen Ian McDiarmid, Emperor Palpatine's stage stuff?
No.
It's fascinating because it's back when he was younger and like legitimately good looking, and he just plays weird characters, and it's him bouncing around on stage in suspenders. Like, why are you so hot? Why are you so
well,
weird?
It's like seeing Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in like the old Hammer movies. Like you're just like, holy shit, he used to be young, or even just
not with a beard,
right?
I really do hope they gave James Arnold Taylor a role in the Obi-Wan like live action series.
Yeah, you'd hope that. I mean,
just
I'm just happy they got a lot of the same cast back from the movies.
Yeah.
I think
it'd be great as if
I think even what's his face,
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, Christian Slater is almost what I said. Yeah, Hayden Christensen is doing Darth Vader, which is pretty baller.
Yeah, what I want is Ewan McGregor and James Arnold Taylor to interact for like 5 seconds, and just like look at each other like, wait a minute, why do I know you?
Fan service, that's why.
Exactly, it's fan service, but it's the best kind of fan service.
It's true. It's understated, and if you don't know, it's okay if you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I hate, like, for example, in Rogue One, where they like run into Ponda Baba, and it's like, wink, wink, it's Ponda Baba, and it's like.
I didn't hate that. I thought that was.
It was kind of annoying. I didn't hate it. It was just kind of like, why did we do this? Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
Never mind.
Something this movie sets up is that this is a war.
Total war.
Like they're really good at it, at making it feel like a war movie, and really good at making it feel like there is it's just hopeless a lot of the time.
Yeah, like what do they call them? The intro voiceover, whatever those things are called. Do a pretty good job of setting up like this is like a wartime thing, and these are all the happenings, and it's all across the universe or the galaxy. But yeah, and I kind of like how they don't just stick with Anakin and Obi-Wan all the time.
Yep, it's not
Although I would like to see them buddy copying around the universe a little bit more, but
it's main character syndrome.
Yeah, actually, isn't it?
It avoids.
That's a little bit of I know of. The final seasons of this is, and I'm not going to spoil it, but of course I think it happens right around Revenge of the Sith, so you see less of Obi-Wan and Anakin because obviously they're off doing their own things, and you get more Ahsoka, which is pretty neat. At that point, she's doing a good job. So
I would have liked more episodes, and I would like more Star Wars in general that emphasizes the Jedi Knight part of that, where they actually are out doing Jedi things as opposed to just being generals.
Yeah, I guess it would have to take place kind of before all this, which...
Yes.
They seem to always be announcing something. I know they're remaking KOTOR and all that stuff, but I forget... I guess a lot of the media always has to take place during a war, which is too bad.
Well, it is Star Wars.
Yeah, well...
Which is
it can also
disappointing.
be an internal metaphoric war, Lucas.
I am aware.
No. What? Yeah, I don't even... So they're sneaking behind enemy lines to cause mischief.
Yeah, they're sneaking behind enemy lines to... specifically designed to kill Jedi, never kill a Jedi.
Yeah, they don't do a very good job.
They're sneaking behind enemy lines to take down the shield generator so that the stuff works again. So their siege works again.
That's kind of the tactic from Empire at War, the RTS.
Yeah.
They have a shield generator, you send in like some dudes to take it down.
Man, I miss Empire at War.
You should play it sometime.
Yeah, I know.
The mod's great.
I have it on Steam.
Yeah, the mods are great.
A friend of mine actually was a voice actress in one of them. I can't remember which one.
That's cool.
Yep.
So it was a female. I can't even think of that many female characters.
Yeah, she played an Imperial character, and I can't remember who.
Nice.
But for one of the mods, I like how many like different franchises have their own mods for it. Like I appreciate that there's a Stargate mod.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
wonder if there's a Mass Effect.
modding communities are great. They're like, I want to see this in a game, or I want to make the game better, because pretty much every single game older than 10 years old has like a fan patch to it to make it work properly on modern systems.
I downloaded some video game for Victoria recently, Safecracker, and it just stopped working. It wouldn't. It was like stuttered to life and stopped working.
Please insert MS-DOS.
And then I went onto the Steam page for it, and it's like, oh, here's how you fix that. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks guys, and it runs perfectly now.
You love when the internet, comes through for you. That's just like magic when it actually works the way it's meant to.
This is like the most baller thing he ever does. Is like he just sets up a table and chairs to try to discuss terms of surrender. Everyone talks about this being a war crime.
What do you mean?
Because he's just stalling. Well, no. He's stalling and he fake surrenders, but he doesn't actually. Yes, he fake surrenders.
Is there a Geneva Convention though in Star Wars?
Yeah. Yes, all billionaires are terrible, but in the Marvel universe, you can't say that about Tony Stark because he's literally saved the world how many times? It's the same concept. Okay. But like this is in the real world, fake surrendering is a war crime. Mm-hmm. And he is buying time to get the shield down and solve the problem. But at the same time, he doesn't know if that plan's actually going to work. So he is technically surviving or surrendering. It's not a war crime. I stand by it.
Obi-Wan
there are other war crimes in the series.
Yeah, there certainly are.
Did you ever play Star Wars Squadrons?
I tried. The controls, I don't know. I'm one of those that'll take hours to install a game, start, watch all the cutscenes and everything, and then get right into it, and then just stop playing.
I get that.
I tried, Rogue Squadron and X-Wing, all those games and TIE Fighter are all my jam, but for some reason I don't know. It was weird. I guess weird to me. It's like, oh, there's characters, characters in my flight sim. I should have just given that, and also, was it Fallen Order? I should have also given that a little bit more time.
Fallen Order is so good. Has one of the best final boss fights in a Star Wars game I've ever played.
I should probably play it then.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I don't want to spoil it because it's I'm not going to.
You shouldn't. Yeah, I'll get to it, and I think it's like Star Wars games when they're good, they're pretty good, but when they're bad, they're really bad. There's very few middle of the road Star Wars games, but I still go back and play Jedi Outcast and Empire at War and all those fantastic games.
I'm trying to think of the last truly bad Star Wars game I ever played.
I mean, depends on, what side of the aisle you're on, but I'm not too partial to some of the Lego games. I know they have a very soft place in your heart, but for me it's Collectathon Nightmare. I had fun playing them, but you remember me just cursing to myself, God damn it, just collecting coins.
Motherfucking Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars.
Well, to me they're so fun.
They are, but they're also maddening because it's I know I'm gonna have to play this level another 10 times to collect everything. Yeah,
and once we wait, and I need to have a Jedi, I need to have a bounty hunter, I need to have an X and a Y to open this stupid fucking door.
I forgot that part of it. Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, you have to unlock the characters and then go back. Yeah, it's maddening. They should be playing Dejarik or what is it? Sabak. Or whatever it is.
And cheat at it. It's funny.
Mike Myers, Goldfinger going on. Just a little bit. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what's funny is they were never shied away from showing clones dying and saying the word "die."
Mm-hmm.
They never really shied away from that in the show, except for that moment right there. I'll have no choice but to destroy you. It's just an interesting choice.
Yeah, I guess in a series about war, you can't really get around the death part of it.
Mm-mm. I remember when Mando season 2 came out, I was actually more hoping that the Tamura Morrison character that we saw wasn't Boba Fett, but it was actually going to be Rex.
Hey, that's what I was hoping too. Yeah, two great minds think alike. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I do like how if the way they brought Boba Fett back, it was actually not the worst, and I actually enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to, Book of Boba Fett. But
as I have said, they did the one thing that made me care, that could make me care about Boba Fett, and that's having him team up with someone else.
yeah, like the lone the lone Boba Fett, and plus like in the movies, like he's kind of a putz.
He's a chump.
Yeah. It's all the expanded universe stuff that made him out to be a badass, and now that's not canon. So now they're actually making him a badass, which is pretty cool.
I did appreciate that sequence where he's back in the armor, and it's like, oh, he actually is as badass as people make him out to be.
Right, he's got a freaking gaffy stick, and he's like doing the haka or whatever. He's like, my god, this dude rocks.
When they finally, it's weird. Rex is like the only blonde clone.
Is he?
Well, look at his hair. Look, his head is shaved bald, but it's got like stubble on it, and it's super light stubble.
So you think natural blonde, or
does he dye? Does he dye his tips?
Frost them tips. It's not the 90s anymore.
That is one thing I don't like about the Clone Wars, is that the voice actor for Yoda isn't great.
He's passable. I mean, I've known people that could do a better Yoda, but it's not distracting, I guess.
Yeah. And there's a great episode where he got a sword. I always think about that particular one.
I forget
it's super early on.
I forget if it's like first or second episode. It's Yoda in the forest with, I think, some clones and some other dudes, and they're getting hunted by a such Ventress, and
that's like 2 episodes in.
He completely like owns her and schools her, and she's like freaking out. It's great. Obi-Wan, we both know you dropped the ball a little bit.
There's a great screen capture of Liam Neeson talking to Jake Lloyd of, I don't want you to be a but Master, I don't want to be a problem, but Qui-Gon, I don't want to be a problem. Don't worry, Anakin, you won't. And then he proceeded to become the biggest problem in the galaxy.
That's right. So much so, he has a whole saga named after him.
Just give us the new Jedi Starfighters. They're cooler looking.
The Adas, Thetas, or whatever they're called. Yeah.
The ones that are halfway between the.
What?
The ones that are halfway between that and the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
It takes them a while to get Twi'lek's head tails. I used to know the name of them. Moving properly.
Oh crap! Now my mind's blanking. Thanks.
It's like a Leku.
Yeah, shit. I was about to say. Yep, you got it. Borata Nikto.
Klaatu, Barada, Nikto.
Oh shit! There's a bunch of heads.
Which, pretty friggin' dark.
It's pretty rough. He's got this weird like cat face.
Yep.
I don't understand it. Wait, explain to me why the Jedi need to find his son again. I know the whole night thing, but is it because the Separatists stole him. That he expects.
Allegedly, yeah, I think the
pretty loose reasoning if you ask me, but all right.
Right. I think he set it out as a challenge. That I don't think the Separatists actually said they took him, but someone took him. He told the Separatists and the Jedi, but it's actually the Separatists who took him.
I don't know. I've always thought that Jabba just like controlled Tatooine. Like, why does anybody care about Jabba the Hutt? I know he's a Hutt.
Well, he's a gang lord, and they have a lot of territory.
Wow, that's actually a pretty cool shot that we just saw.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of really interesting visual work in this show.
I think all the ships and this, like the mechanical stuff, looks super good in this show, and like a lot of the different clone armors and things too.
Mm-hmm. There's a really cool one that takes place on Mon Cala that's entirely underwater, and it's just underwater battles with like 4 or 5 different factions.
Does it involve the Quarren?
It involves it's a 4-way battle between clones, Quarren, the Mon Cala, and the Gungans.
Gungans.
Yeah, they bring the Gungans on because they're like, wait, we need someone with a water armor with a water army. Who do we know? The Gungans do. Let's throw them at the meat grinder. Also, I love the old Republic, the old nose art on the thing.
Yeah.
Great touch.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Imagine being like this like grizzled old clone commander and being like, I have to take orders from these assholes.
Grizzled old clone commander. He's like 5.
Well, yeah. In clone years.
To be fair.
In dog years. I mean. Yeah, his beard looks super plastic. I know you were saying it was like stone, but sometimes it also looks a little plastic.
Yeah, no, it's not always perfect, particularly in the earlier stuff. They gain a lot more motion and a lot more confident with what they're able to do with their rendering process as the series goes on. But yeah, it does sometimes look a little plasticky.
And I totally get like why they chose this right over like cell animated, cartoons or whatever, because that takes like a million years and a lot of precise work, whereas this is like, oh, we've developed the program and models and bam, we can put this stuff together in like no time. Oh, I was gonna say, like, this apparently is of course one of the lowest grossing Star Wars movies, which makes kind of sense since it is, it's not like a full theatrical like part of.
If this is the one of the lowest grossing, what is the lowest grossing?
Well, I mean, this is just like gross, right? This is net. So I mean, this only cost, apparently the budget was only like $8.5 million. So, and it was because it was pretty cheap to make, and if you follow the logic that most people do, is if you usually budget it for marketing, which I don't even know if they had that much marketing, so probably not even doubled. But it made.
I don't even remember how I found out about it.
Yeah, I think we were just like, oh hey, there's a Star Wars movie in the theaters, let's go see it. But yeah, it made $68.3 million. So even the lowest grossing still make a ton of change. So just franchise alone, like brand name alone, it's like people are in the theaters. So you really can't go wrong. So I guess Lucas was kind of right.
It was funny.
Then again, if you make any Star Wars movie, people are going to watch it probably.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Evan a couple of weeks back, and how he went with his mom to see it, and she spent like 10 minutes trying not to say how much she hated it, and which it's not exactly the best of movies. That being said, it's still enjoyable, and it's still a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like it breathes like made-for-TV movie, right? I mean, it feels like a long episode, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it was cool seeing it in the theater, so I won't knock it for that. I mean, ticket prices aren't insane, so we just saw it in little old Farmington, right? So it's I don't know, it was.
Did we see this in Farmington, or was this in?
I'm pretty sure we saw it in Farmington, didn't we? No.
I don't know. I don't even remember when it came out. So.
It might have been.
No, I thought it was in.
It could have been Regal, yeah, or back home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I even if they were to be like, oh hey, we're gonna air the friggin' Ewok movies, I'd be like, sure, I'll go see them.
Why not? Yeah.
I'll be honest. I have never seen the Ewok movies.
I
And
think I started
that would
to.
be that would be a pretty cool way to see them, I guess. Is it in the theaters, almost like a riff track session or something? That'd be fun.
Yeah.
As long as some drunk asshole doesn't ruin it for everybody. But yeah.
I just realized that I don't know if those were theatrical. Those are ever released in theaters, so we may have to.
Oh no! Don't do this. Don't do this, Lucas. We'll just assume they weren't. I don't think they were. If they were, it was super limited. We have to agree that they have to be like
a wide release.
A wide release, yeah, versus released in some backwoods theater in like Wisconsin or something. What is happening? I lost the track, Lucas. What are they doing?
So they think that this is where the Separatists are keeping Jabba's son. So they landed on the outsides of this pillar, and they're gonna climb up it.
Got it. Stupid ass droid.
I love the this is where the fun begins. There are these weird cultural things that happen that are not just it's not just like it's more than just their it's part of their culture. It's not just a line and a callback because it's so frequent. It's actually part of how the Star Wars universe talks.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of goes back. We've talked about it a few times how you can't make a completely alien universe because then it's just like, what am I watching? And that was part of the greatness and the not so greatness of a show like Farscape, which I love, but at the same time I can see why it's not insanely popular because it's just so alien, right? And that was the whole point of it. But with something like Star Wars, it's kind of meant to be pretty mass appeal, right? So it's like, oh, how do we get them kind of speaking like us and acting like us and all that fun jazz. And then also still, waving around laser swords and shit. It's pretty cool. Pretty rad.
Yeah. I was just the laser sword things made me think about this. If we're having trouble with Jedi Fallen Order, because I will admit it is pretty difficult.
It is.
It's super difficult. Just turn the difficulty down. That's how I started enjoying the game again. I'm like, oh wow, I don't need this on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of an epic gamer, dude.
No, yeah, my ego has never let me do that except for if I'm like, I've already beat the game. I don't know what it is. It's definitely a psychological, ego thing. But
let me put it this way: not only is it harder, you gain less experience, in game.
That's silly. Yeah, some of the scaling for difficulties never made any sense. It's like, oh, the enemy does 1,000 times more damage, and it's like, what? Okay.
What wins in a fight? A sorcerer with an omnidirectional cutting blade, or one large goat? The goat.
What could have possibly gone
But no,
wrong?
seriously, turn the difficulty down to not even I think if there's 4 settings, turn it down to the second one, and it's so much more fun.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try.
Because you actually feel it. You actually feel like a freaking Jedi.
Yeah, that was my problem. Is going back to Force Unleashed. I'm like, it's not super difficult, but it's also one of those games where a lightsaber doesn't really feel like a lightsaber, right? It feels more like a baseball bat or something.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't really doing much damage. You expect to swing a lightsaber, you want to take some heads off.
Or at least a limb.
Something.
I want to be able to cut through that door. I should be able to cut through any wall.
That's right. Like butter.
I love how this is supposed to be a commentary track of the Star Wars film, of each individual Star Wars film, and it just turns into rambling conversations about Star Wars, which, honestly, may be better.
I don't know. Like I said, there's certainly something going on in this movie. It is very boilerplate and standard. We all know. We've already gone over the plot. They're trying to find Jabba's son, and that's it. That's all they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. There's no B plot really. I think is Obi-Wan somewhere else doing. I guess he's also looking somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's trying to negotiate with Jabba, if I recall correctly.
Ah, that's right. He went to Tatooine. I'm glad you're here, Lucas. I would be completely lost.
It's a small touch, but I love that all the lightsabers have a pointed tip.
Do they? I've noticed in I forget which one it was, either this series or Rebels, where the lightsabers are super skinny and weird. Like they don't look like the lightsabers. Like these actually look normal.
I believe they're normal in this, but they all have it's like an actual sword tip to them, which is a nice little aesthetic touch.
Yeah. Definitely want your blade to be a blade.
Mm-hmm.
Grumpy goth chick. So I guess the idea behind this movie is that it's setting up, the series to come, right? I mean, I think they had planned right away to make this into a show, or it was already developed or whatever, right? So, so I guess what is this setting up? I guess that's my question.
I think I don't know if it's setting up,
because there's an overall plot to the. I mean, I guess the Clone Wars is the plot, right?
Yeah.
Because
I assume it's the setting, because they needed to establish Ahsoka as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because she's going to be our. Yeah.
I know they already found them. Movie over. Wow. There's no such thing as a cute hut. I'm sorry. It's against lore. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I guess there's less of an overarching theme in the show versus like maybe a series of episodes that are kind of tied together, right? Different what do they call them? Different arcs or something?
Yeah, they do a lot of 3 or 4 episode arc series. And there's a couple of 3 or 4 episode arcs about ARC troopers.
Yeah, and I think one of the best ones I hear is like the arc of Boba. There's actually young Boba Fett arc where he
it's pretty
infiltrates and does cool shit. Count Dooku also looks kind of goofy in this show.
Yeah, his face is like 14 feet long.
Yeah, he looks like he should be in whatchamacallit, like the Nightmare Before Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Tell Jabba that I think he's an idiot. Tell him that. Tell him I think he's a friggin' idiot.
It's interesting because, as I said, I've been watching the show, and I'm on like season 4, midway through season 4. They went through an art upgrade between season 3 and season 4.
Yeah.
And everyone all the clones have gained weight, for lack of a better term.
Got a little huskiness, yeah.
Well, no, they're not as skinny and scrawny looking. They all look. They look bigger. Like the art style has, it's the same art style, but it's evolved and it's gotten a little bit more rugged.
No longer on half rations; they're on full rations now.
Exactly.
That's good. Yeah, I always thought they were kind of spindly. Being a rather spindly dude myself, I was like, I can relate to this. Wait a minute, no, this is kind of goofy.
Should go to Halloween as Rex one time.
I should.
Just shave your head and jump off of things and shooting them. Or is that Fordo?
That's Fordo. That's again another reason why Clone Wars is a far superior property.
Because it's got Captain Fordo.
He's super cool. And actually talk about, I know I don't want to get too nerdy, but with the action figures, like the Captain Fordo action figure is actually pretty rad. It's got different accessories, man. Got to accessorize your action figures. A lot of this is also just talking at holograms. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Holograms talking
But
at
isn't
you,
that like,
you talking at holograms. I mean, I think that was also one of the last movies we watched.
yeah, Attack of the
But here we
Clones,
go. Look at
they're
this.
on Skype
Look at
calls
this.
like every 5
Look at this
minutes.
fucking. What is? Why? Why do you have to broadcast this? Hey, look, it's a baby in a backpack.
Because
Oh, he's
it
deceiving
looks
them.
at their...
Actually, also, is that Gran in the background dressed like Obi-Wan? Where'd he go? He's on the other side. But yeah, this is certainly a talkie.
Where are the wars in my Star Wars movie?
Also, yeah, let's subtitle everybody by Jabba. Jawas, you know, sand people.
Haven't heard that one in a while. Hey, look, another Skype call.
It just never ends. This is the third one in a row. And all the clones are just like, I don't get paid enough for this. Actually, I don't even think they do get paid. Is that ever covered if they get compensated for their time?
Yeah, what is their plan? What is the plan for the clone army after the war?
It was their retirement plan. It's actually just to kind of fade away into... Actually, that's actually what the Bad Batch is about. I don't know if you've watched any of that.
I haven't watched it.
I watched a little bit of it, and the characters are kind of grating, but at the same time, it asks the important questions like, okay, what happens when they stop cloning and they start recruiting? And these dudes are like, I don't really want to be a part of the Empire anymore.
Yeah.
Because y'all suck. Yeah, get off of your goddamn FaceTime and get your ass over here.
Send an email. This
meeting could have been an email.
So my dad has said he spent all of last year and most of this year in working from home, and it's been just life altering how many of those could have been email. Like, this is the ultimate epitome of every meeting could have been an email.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of folks, because of the disconnectedness and disassociated world that we live in, is like we need to have more, FaceTime, if you will. And I understand it, but I also find it, I just want to be left alone most days to get my work done, and I don't want to see you. That's actually one of the perks of, working from home, is if you don't want to see somebody, you can literally not see them.
You don't have to. That's... I started a new job about a month and a half ago, and so as I've told people, I have spent my entire professional career doing nothing but talk to people for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week since high school. That is all I have ever done. Yeah. And now I'm in a room by myself where at most I can look up and I can watch people walk by on a screen.
And is the silence starting to get to you?
Well, no, it just feels like I feel like I'm in freaking Plato's cave.
Yeah. No, that switch from having right out of college, I had a retail job, and yeah, you're right. You're just on your feet. You're just talking to people. It's like customer service. And then I had a call center job. It was similar, but at a desk. And then I guess I got gradualed into like, okay, you're off the phones now. Here's your cube. And I just kind of first day, I just kind of sat there. I was like,
what do I do?
What do I do? I mean, there's no one to talk to, and you just start talking to yourself. I mean,
and yeah, I have a fair amount of freedom, so I tend to get up and walk around a lot. But at the same time, if I'm doing my job, for lack of a better term, doing one of the parts of my job, I have to sit there and I'm like, all right, really lonely right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
But
it's tough because you have to train yourself to be like, okay, now's the time to get things done. I'm my own taskmaster, man. Stop thinking about every single thing under the sun and, put away that little, oh my God, the device that literally opens up Pandora's box of information. It's just there to distract you.
Yeah.
I really just want to see one of them say, uh-oh, spaghetti-o.
Uh-oh, space-getty-o.
Space with meatball.
I have to wonder, what is the difference between the long rifles and the short rifles?
Oh, geez, I don't know. Focus focusing lens. I don't know, Lucas. Honestly, I think at one time, I like many things I did know, but I think it's supposed to have like be like the real world equivalent, right, of a carbine versus a long rifle versus a handheld pistol or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it makes a little sense since they all have very similar ammo and ability. Definitely a lack of flipping and shooting. Joke's on you, you just did. Freaking hideous.
Yes.
It's like, look at this Ewok. It's super cute, and you just look at its dead eyes, and you're like, But then, of course, in the special edition, didn't they added like in blinking or something?
I don't remember.
I think they did.
But I just find it funny is, it's Ewok. Well, swap the syllables around.
Yeah.
Walkie.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to be a planet of Wookiees.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Never thought about that. Feel kind of dumb now.
But I don't know why they went with the Ewoks. I don't have a problem with Ewoks.
I fucking hate Ewoks. I mean, they're not the worst.
What's the deal with Wookiees? What is your deal with Wookiees?
I don't know. I think the whole life debt thing is overplayed and kind of, I don't know, plain Jane dumb. It's just like, like think of Chewbacca. Like, what is he known for? It says, he's life debt to Han. That's his backstory. He's strong, and he growls, and it's like that's his character. But then again, it's like what's
Luke's a pretty good mechanic.
Luke's character is like, and I know, I don't know. I was just, and then John, our friend John, will just buy me. For a while there, he was just buying me Wookiee things, knowing full well
because he knew he hated
just trolling me in real life. It's like, thanks, dude. What am I gonna do with like these 5 Wookiee plushes? And yeah, I've got a Wookiee shirt. I don't know.
Great shot. That shot from the barrel is wonderful.
Yeah. So did they just paint their armor? I guess that's what it looks like, right? It just looks like, I always thought it was like from the factory, right? Here's your blue armor, but looks like he actually slapped some paint on there. Or do you think
that's literally? Well, I mean, that's actually a plot point. Is they call like brand new clones shinies. And I think it's just brand new armor for ARC troopers and things like that.
Yeah.
Like one of the clones at one point gets like a handprint on his chest for some reason.
That's rad.
Because that makes sense.
Gonna have to jump. I don't know. Jedi are a bunch of chumps. They get tricked.
A lot of the time, they kind of are
tricked into using a clone army. I guess you could air quotes it like tricked, right? Because obviously, if the prophecy was like bring balance to the Force, then yeah, sure, it all happened in the end. But you got to think like how much pain and suffering happened, and like most of the the galaxy was destroyed because of the war. I guess I don't know what the alternative would have been, right? I guess I don't know.
Ventress is a really fascinating character, just because, and not even necessarily fascinating. That's not the right word. it's interesting because they keep going back and forth on how many Force users there were after. It's like she was set up to establish the Inquisitors and the basically all the evil Force users that the Emperor maintained who weren't Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It strikes me as like, oh, they created their own Sith Jedi Order.
Yeah, it's like how the whole Darth Bandon with the rule of two? I forget which Darth it was, but it's like, yeah, we only got two dudes, but clearly that's not the case, right? There's I count them three dudes, and I think they always like try to get around those rules by like, well, this one is really not a Sith. This one's just, she has Force powers and she uses them, but we don't really consider her a Sith. But really, Count Dooku's like grooming her to potentially, be his, his kind of
his apprentice,
second in command. Whereas maybe, the Emperor's always looking for a replacement, for Dooku. So they're always. I don't know. The whole idea, right, is like we only got two of you, so you don't just all kill yourselves scheming, and you can focus outward. But they still kind of do it.
Yes.
They are not immune from doing it.
I feel like that's their downfall is the continual scheming.
It's like, dude. Oh, well, I guess even like in one of my favorite series, Star Wars Legacy, where there is a Sith, order. I mean, it all kind of rolls up to the top just because the Darth in control is like the biggest badass. But yeah, there's still scheming like, I'm gonna be his best friend. No, I'm gonna be his best friend. Why do they keep calling the droid traitors? They're droids. Dum-dums.
Because droids bounce between having personality and not having personality, and sapience and not having sapience.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're also programmed. Some of them aren't. Haven't broken that programming.
And the clones are programmed too. I mean, in a sense.
Loosely, in a way, yeah. But as it showed in that one episode the one episode I clearly remember is like the one clone trooper who just kind of wants to have a family or something. I forget.
Yeah.
They've had comics about that too, which is great. Like developing them that way. It's like they're still people. They're really good at fighting and taking orders and doing all this stuff, but I think the whole point of this is that they're not droids, right?
Right.
And it's weird too because in Phantom Menace, all the droids are like one consciousness and controlled by a mothership. But as that they step away from that and they do start developing personalities for them because
it's more effective in combat.
Right. It's like if you have this one ship, if you take down, the whole army goes out of control. Guess what? One ship is always going to be targeted, taken out.
Yeah.
Guess who's here, bitches? It's your boy.
Turned down for what?
It's Republic gunships. Shit's getting real. Dave's ex machina of this of the Star Wars universe.
The Filoni ex machina.
Yeah.
Or the Dave ex machina.
There you go. That's good.
That's better.
Patent it. Print it.
Put it on a shirt.
There you go.
A friend of mine pitched an idea for a show that was just American pickers, but in the Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. And his idea was just that every time our two protagonists who we follow go into all these garage sales around the Star Wars universe, there's always Jawas there. That every time they go there, there's always Jawas, and they've always beaten them. Like
right, and
they've always beaten him to the punch.
Yeah, that's like, that's the thing. It's like you always think of Jawas to be distinctly from Tatooine, right? But then, yeah, you're right. Like in Mandalorian, they're just on that planet, and all of a sudden his ship is just being stripped for 2 minutes. He's been away from it. Like, God damn it! And that's the whole plot point is him trying to get all of his shit back. Hiya!
Venture's out.
Later. But yeah, I think I'd ask that question like way at the beginning. Like, is this Obi-Wan clone trooper armor any good?
It's I don't particularly like it because I would prefer if they'd had like the full clone armor
Right.
breastplate on as opposed to just like the pauldrons.
You know, it's really missing though is the cape.
The cape is totally
Yeah.
missing.
Although it's a complete, hazard.
Yeah.
OSHA
Nuggets.
hazard. Yeah, it's like
I think it was you who told me this, that they put this spaceship in so that he could say to his so that Owen Lars's line of he was a captain of a spice freighter.
Did I tell you that?
This is an old yeah, I feel like you did. Like, this is an
have.
old spice freighter.
Is it now? Yeah, I mean, obviously a progenitor of like a B-wing type thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love and I hate how a lot of the ships, your main character ferries, are all kind of like shit buckets, because it's all like, oh, they're just Millennium Falcon. But I am totally endeared to the Mandalorian ship, and how it's like a Clone Wars era hunk of junk.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy that any day.
For me, the thing that about the Mando ship that I don't get is that it's got, and it's something from a lot of things where they clearly in Empire they tested they were testing freezing someone in carbonite, and then now everyone gets frozen in carbonite.
Wow, it's a new next thing, right? And it's also like I thought it was also expensive and hazardous potentially, and it's like, well, yeah, that's the one thing I kind of groaned a little bit at, but at the same time, it's like it does something in the show where it sets him up as like a guy who just doesn't want to talk to people. It's like, I don't want to hear your shit, Horatio Sands. Yeah, I was a little worried that Horatio Sands was going to be in the show longer than he was.
Horatio Sands?
Yeah, that was him. I think that's Horatio from SNL. He
Which one?
plays that alien that he captures at the beginning.
Oh, he does?
The little quippy alien that just won't shut the hell up. I was like,
I love that they had her take the skirt off because it was easier to animate just legs.
Well, that's fair. Also, girls don't have to wear skirts if they don't want to. They can wear whatever they want.
No, that's true. I'm not saying that's not the case.
I forget. I believe her backstory is she comes from Red. I forget the name of the planet, but it's one of the planets that's like constantly at war and full of bloodshed, and a Jedi like lands on the planet and like leads the people to like, victory over this stuff. And then I forget what happens. I think other Jedi come and think he's fallen to the dark side, and then like have him taken out, and now that's why she hates Jedi so much. I don't know if that's still. I don't know if that's still canon, and I mean clearly she talks about getting revenge on the Jedi, but I mean, yeah,
she gets fair. There's a flashback of when she's like dying or being something happens in the show. There's a flashback of her getting how's it phrased? There's a flashback of her backstory, and she like gets rescued by a Jedi and becomes his Padawan, and then somehow that Jedi dies.
Yeah, she's pissed off at Jedi.
I can't remember
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's pretty true. And again, this is from a comic that probably stopped being canon long ago, but in the comic is also the Rex surrogate, or the person I think Rex was based off of, which was Alpha, who was a kind of he was assigned to Anakin, and he was like this kind of, I don't know, loose cannon clone that had like was experimental, and I don't know, it was pretty cool. But at the same time, you see Rex, and in this show he's got a personality, but I would have liked to see him a little more badass. I want my clone badass, and he does get badass. And I haven't seen the whole series, so I'll shut my mouth. But at least in this movie, he's just kind of like, I'm just doing what Anakin says.
D+ is like $6 a month. Just suck it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it for Book of Boba for sure, but Boba, and I still have to finish a few of the other Marvel things that I've Not sure if I really want to see
I
it,
finished
but
I finished Hawkeye today.
I just sort of started it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this, and I probably will. I finished all the other ones, even the What Ifs.
What If was what I appreciated What If, but I wish it had gone more, like it had gone crazier.
Yeah.
But I still thought it was pretty good. I'm just disappointed that I won't ever get my dream Marvel show of team up, where it's just they pick random characters they've already established and have them team up and have an adventure.
Well, they kind of did that with the last few episodes, and then of course they had the Marvel Zombies type of nod.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was all right. I did really like Loki, and what was the other one?
I liked Falcon.
Yeah,
and
that
Winter
one was
Soldier
also
a lot.
pretty good. I think I liked Loki a little bit more, but it was also weirder in a way, setting up like the multiverse and what's his face. Not to spoil it, but yeah, all around Disney Plus is a good investment, and plus the little one likes Winnie the Pooh, so.
How old is she now?
She's 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind, man.
Yeah, tell me about it. She knows more about birds and things than I do. She also I'm slowly introducing Star Wars to her, but she's apparently wiser than me, and she's like, I'm too young for Star Wars, and I'm like, damn it. But we are tomorrow. We're wrapping gifts, and I'm gonna put on the Star Wars Holiday Special, and she's gonna be like blown away by how bad it is. It's gonna be great. Probably a little terrified. I might have to turn it off, but it's gonna be it'll be a learning experience. What?
Does she even have any concept of what quality is right now?
No. She watches something called Go Dog Go. That's just about dogs and cars. So yeah, I don't know. She likes what she likes, and I know she won't probably like Star Wars like I do, but it's not to say I'm not going to try.
Right.
And I know, yeah, Star Wars Holiday Special, definitely not the best place to start, and it's not meant to be something that we're gonna.
It's not meant to be.
Yeah, we're not gonna watch it for a long time. She'll just experience weird Wookiee shit, and then we'll be done. What? Sorry, it's 420, man. An actual doctor. Man, give yourself a little bit more credit. I could tell you, trying to get kids to take medicine is very much like this, actually. Well, except that this child actually took the medicine.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking dog, I tell you what.
Just wrap it in bacon.
That actually would probably work, actually, now you say that. Cut to him flying a bucket of bolts through hyperspace. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he looks like shit. Creepy brat's eyes. Oh my god. That's what it is.
Yeah, they really. Yep, she's got some very big eyes, but she gets. Again, everyone seems to get bigger and
better proportioned.
Yes,
that's good. Bantha Poodoo.
Sand people.
Oh no.
The guy that got to play Christopher Lee, Count Dooku, actually is really good. He sounds a lot like Christopher Lee.
Yeah, and again, this is Christopher Lee, but remembering Christopher Lee the Count Dooku from the show. You're right.
Yeah.
And all you gotta nail is like the deep, foreboding Dracula voice. I mean, that's all you gotta do. This is kind of stupid. Everyone knows Jedi don't do that.
Well, no one knows anything about Jedi, so everyone assumes the worst about the Jedi. It seems like.
Well, everyone seems to know Jedi have Jedi mind tricks, right? So,
Yeah.
well, I guess that's not good, right? to have that,
Yeah.
thing. Oh, these droids are super cool. The assassiny droids.
Yeah, with their electro
Magna
staffs.
Guard droids. That's what they are. Doi. I knew that.
You're slipping, man. You're slipping in your old age.
Slipping so bad. Too much sand.
I was a slave here.
I killed a bunch of people here. I really shouldn't go back. They're looking for me.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 warrants out for me.
They'll surely throw me in jail. Do you think if... Actually, what he should have done is he should have got in front of Jabba and he's like, you remember that little tyke that won the Boonta Eve, whatever the hell? That was me. You can trust me. You know that a fact that I always forget, just random thought, is
What?
Jake Lloyd. I think one of his first movies was Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, it's he only did like 2 movies, and which was Phantom Menace and Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
Because people bullied him out of being an actor.
Because people are horrible.
And then I think he became a powerlifter.
Hey, that's pretty rad.
Or some kind of like weightlifter thingy.
Yeah, you do you, man.
Yep.
My favorite thing I've learned about another random thought is Darth, Ray Park Darth Maul, is that when he goes to conventions, fans like to try to challenge him to a duel, a lightsaber duel, and he just schools them every time. I could just imagine that's what Jake Lloyd's like. If he were to, I doubt he does conventions, but if he were to go to one, someone just like, yeah, Annie, and like try to pick a fight with him, he just like wrecks them. That'd be great.
We were talking about when we got brought up in Attack of the Clones how it's very much an old Republic serial. It's very Art Deco.
Mm-hmm.
Those ships that the Magna droids are flying are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Ho ho ho! Yeah, honestly, they're kind of along the same vein as, the kind of Naboo ships, and yeah, how they're kind of like rounded and have that kind of strange aesthetic. What is he?
Oh, don't tell him he's just gonna go to his head.
Yeah, the snips thing's gotta stop. That stops, right?
Yes, it does eventually. He calls her Snips because she's very snippy, and same thing with the Sky Guy thing.
That
I
also
think he
needs to stop.
Yeah, that also stops. Like as their characters progress, they get better.
Yeah. There's also a very...
That being said...
Talking about, like, aesthetic, I've noticed a lot of the textures, like planets and, other things have a very painted quality in general.
Yes, they do.
Cool.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, it's weird that we don't see more style, more shows in this kind of style. Or at least in something similar to this.
Yeah, I guess there was Rebels, right, and there's Bad Batch. So, and there's how many seasons of this? There's 6,
7.
7. Wow.
Well, I just mean like that this didn't influence other kinds of cartoons.
That's fair, yeah. And again, I think it was pretty inexpensive to do.
And since you've got, like, as I said, all the Jedi characters wear the same the same character model, just their proportions are a little bit different and their heads are different.
Right, and it's just copy paste clone everywhere, and you're good.
Mm-hmm. Except for like Yoda and a couple of
Yeah.
a couple of the weirder ones.
Speaking of Yoda, he's kind of cute in this. His voice is a little off, but
Yeah.
he's always like looking up. It's kind of funny. I mean, he's short, which is obvious, but. Adios.
Oh, I forgot about this chunk of the movie.
What happens now? Is this the good part?
Oh, you don't remember this?
No.
Oh no, this isn't the good. Oh. No, this is nothing. Is fine. She's fine. It's the characters in her arc that are really frustrating.
Wait.
Because this is another episode of the show.
But yeah, she was just brought in, right? This is the first time she's introduced in the show.
Yep.
And all of a sudden she's got an arc. Great. Like.
Well, this is her arc of the movie. Like she gets one episode of 3 or 4 episodes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just really. I feel like this one drags. This part of the movie drags a bit.
Right, especially since like
act.
30 minutes ago they found the baby and they were like, we're good, and now they're just trying to get back to Jabba.
Yeah. Well, Jabba thinks the baby's dead.
No, I mean, I get that. It's like building suspense and all, but it's like, come on, just get him. Just get him where he needs to go. We don't need any of this other crap. You gotta think, like, the Emperor must have been great at micromanaging. Like, my God. Somehow he managed to get, like, all this shit done to the, like, finest letter, letter, and then just, it go off without a hitch.
So there's a quote about Lord of the Rings that the most unrealistic thing about the entire Lord of the Rings saga is that a group of people got together and in one meeting sat down, made a plan, and it went off without a hitch.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a lot of false hope for like projects and like work projects and school projects. It's like people can do that? No, they really can't. Not well, anyways.
I'm gonna strip that for parts.
Hell yeah. Although.
Did you ever read Tales from Jabba's Palace?
I sure did. That was.
And I love that this story that there are like 3 or 4 right in the middle that are interconnected,
mm-hmm.
of like a Jabba, a rat person, and a stormtrooper. And like the Womp Rat steals the power cell from the Jawa's blaster, and he tries to kill some stormtroopers, and the stormtrooper just shoots him without realizing what happened.
Yeah. If I recall, it's a very tragic tale.
Seedy underbelly.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's weird.
Weird is fine. This is maybe fine. It's just all of a sudden, right? You're in a very like
very sudden.
You're just in this very like flat, one-tone world, and all of a sudden you're thrown into like,
purple.
Yeah. Oh no, droids can feel pain.
All right, let's go back to the smooth jazz.
They should have brought B. Arthur's character back somewhere and start in this show. Or not back, but.
Or the guy with the volcano for a head that he pours the drink in.
Art Carney. Art Carney's music box. So I'm not sure if this is offensive or just weird. I mean, that's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. I think it's both.
It's fine.
Also, it's both and neither.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, I don't know. It's also like one of the first times you hear, Hutt speaking basic, but whatever.
And yet you live on Coruscant. How interesting.
Curious.
Yes.
You benefit from the systems in place. I'm curious.
Yeah, we should improve society somewhat, and yet you live in society.
Interesting. back to our main plot, because that completely went nowhere. Look over there, the dune. Worm sign.
Stilgar, do we have the hut sign?
Hut sign like you've never seen, or whatever.
It's like to which God has
That's
never
right.
seen.
Sorry, I knew you would know the quote.
Because I have a weird fucking obsession with pop culture, and those things get wedged in my head for some dumbass reason.
Right. Wasn't there a time you could recite the whole Kwisatz Haderach scene, Fear's the Mind Killer?
Probably.
I would be lying if I said I didn't try, but long ago was the time I could memorize more than 2 words. So wait, was she going to her doom or something, or was she just being led outside?
I believe she was going to her doom.
Okay.
I will say, I mentioned the whole Jedi characters are the only ones who are all copy pasted. They saved all their budget on Amidala because she doesn't seem to be in the same outfit more than once, except for like her pilot outfit. Mm-hmm. So they kept the theme of the movies.
Yeah, could be consistent.
You want me to give him the clamps?
Clamps.
Actually a traitor, so it works this time.
It's fair. Incredible beard, though.
Mm-hmm. He tried to give her the clamps.
Man, if someone tried to give me the clamps,
I'd say no.
Yeah, I would say no. I guess something that's always been in the back of my mind was I love this era of Star Wars, even despite the prequels and kind of how bad they are. I mean, I think this show and a lot of the other stuff does a great job of fleshing it out, but man, am I kind of tired of this era of Star Wars. Like,
yes,
between this show and the Clone Wars and like the bajillion comics I read and the books, it's just like, talk about one period of time. It's almost like, remember when the History Channel actually had history on it, and it was just World War II all the time? Yep. It feels like that. So I guess I'm just getting ready for like the Ancient Aliens portion of Star Wars to come. I don't know if that's history, but you know what I mean. It's just like, when are we gonna move on to something else? I guess they have.
Why? Ancient Aliens is history. Is the History Channel? What I would like to see.
Excuse me, it is history. It is real fact. I'll have you know.
Ancient Aliens boils down to people not accepting that non-white people built things.
Pyramids hold grain. Did you know that, Lucas? It was for holding grain.
I did know they held grain.
Thanks, Ben Carson.
But no, I'm excited. I would like to see like a show or a game in the High Republic series where things are, it's a setting of high adventure.
Right. Yeah, where it's not just like, I mean, there's 1,000 years that they can work with, right? When there isn't like any of these stupid wars going on. There's no wars in Star Wars. Was it 1,000 years or 100,000 years? Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Why don't they just have something in that? Knights being knights, bros being bros.
I love that they This, I think, is the only time in the entire series that Count Dooku and Anakin meet.
Yeah.
Like because this is I'm like 90% certain this is the only time they ever meet in the entire series, because of that line in Revenge of the Sith where he says, "The last time we met, our powers have doubled." You know, my powers have doubled since the last time we met.
So I guess instead of doubling from Attack of the Clones, they're doubling from this point in time, which
from this moment, which is like 5 minutes after Attack of the Clones.
Right. Right. Well, is it really though? Because he's already gone through the transfer. This feels like years later, or not years later, because the Clone Wars don't go on that long. But I guess you're right. I guess he got a haircut.
It's enough of a time frame so that it's both enough of a time frame and as short of a time frame so that they can plausibly use that line.
Right, all to justify that one little throwaway line. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi using tricks. Idiot.
Why? Why would you expect treachery from a Jedi?
That yet again, he did do treachery. Which is the whole absolutism thing, right?
Well, yeah. No, it's...
Well, the Jedi aren't all good all the time, right? I mean, there's no...
Right.
And there's always gray area, and I think... I don't know. There's different philosophies.
And only this is... Well, we'll talk about it when we get there, but I remember reading a long thing about how that line still technically works.
It... Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Kind of correct. Also a pretty good lightsaber fight.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Nothing beats a good boot to the face, though. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's where the Jedi lost their way, is that they got so, into their theories.
Monolithic.
Yeah, and they're like, this is absolutely what a Jedi does, and I think Anakin's like, or even Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon were like, or definitely Qui-Gon was like, actually, there's a lot of other shit going on, and...
Take his lightsaber!
Yeah, that's right. Took his bike, though. Took his ride.
Yeah, it at least momentarily deals with it, makes it more difficult for him.
Come on, Snips. And Stinky. God.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, I get it. Like, it always takes shows and things like a little while to, build up
get their stride.
But I wasn't surprised. I mean, it's obvious, but Dave Filoni did direct this, obviously. And it's like he has his hand. I guess it just shows like he's learned a lot and done, capable of great things.
His cowboy hat has gotten larger.
That's right.
He's grown into his cowboy.
And
hat.
I think I sent you that meme, right, of how Disney has made so many things like the expanded universe, so made it non-canon, but he's like pulling things from the expanded universe, right, and reintroducing them, and that's mostly why he's so amazing. And also he's just good at what he does. Please, more dialogue, more back and forth about stuff. There we go.
Clone Troopers.
Yeah, he did a flip. Infinitely better now. Oh, that was right. I do like how Padme can be badass sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, talk, 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 I'm a senator. Kapow! And it actually does look a lot like Natalie Portman sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, sir, you're at about an 11 right now for hamminess. Could you maybe dial it down to maybe more of a 6? It's a little bit silly that
he's over
it's a little
there
bit silly that he's
on a motorcycle.
She's literally right outside the door, and you're telling me Jabba doesn't know what's going on outside of his fucking door.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a trap.
Of course,
Goddamn,
it's a trap.
Nikto. Actually, are those Barada? No, those are Nikto.
I
think that's Nikto. Barada's got like the weird bear jowls.
Yeah.
Or Klaatu Barada. Goddamn Jedi poodoo. So I guess you got to think about this a little bit, right? In Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker shows up, or sends the message to Jabba, right? And so, does he know that this is also a Skywalker and that they're related? Since he's had dealings with Skywalkers on and off.
Maybe that's a good question.
I don't know. Not that it really matters, but. And that's maybe why he's like, I fucking hate this Luke guy. His dad was a dick.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Also, I mean, Jabba doesn't need motivation to want to trap and kill a Jedi, but feed his Rancor. That's enough.
Yes.
That's enough.
Did you hear about the Black Series Rancor?
No, what's up?
So you know the Star Wars Black Series figures? Yep. Okay, they attempted to make a... Hasbro will occasionally, say, we're going to make this figure if enough people donate money or enough people pledge it.
Kickstarting bullshit?
Yep.
What? Excuse me?
Yep, they do. But it failed, but it was going to be a Black Series Rancor.
Okay.
So it was 3 feet tall.
Wow. Yeah, because technically I think there's 2 Black Series. There's the 6-inch and then the 3 and the 3/4.
I think it was scaled for the 6-inch.
Wow. Damn, that's a big ass Rancor.
Because that's exactly what you need in your. That's what I need.
I never even had the OG Rancor. Did you?
I did.
Oh my God. Again, you got one up over me.
I had a Bantha as well.
I had the Bantha. I still have a Bantha. It smells terrible. It's been up in the attic for 20 years, Lucas. It is. I should probably get rid of it. Actually, I might have thrown it out because it smelled like an armpit. It was horrible. Oof. Yeah, it was yuck.
No, I just need to sit down over the course of a week and actually just list them all on eBay. But that's just so much work.
It is, and you got to also be like, is this, what's the return on investment here of my time? And it's like, I was talking to some dude up the street. There's a store that buys toys. And I was like, yeah, so do you buy this era of Star Wars? I'm like, yeah, but they don't really go for much. It's like the whole baseball card craze of the early 90s and how they just produce so many baseball cards that, even if you have a Mickey Mantle, it's like, who cares? There's about 1,000 of them. But that being said, there are certain ones that are super sought after.
Right.
But yeah, it just takes a lot of time. Beep boop bop.
Jabba.
So do they reproduce asexually, or are we gonna talk about this?
We're just gonna let it go.
That's
We're
fine.
Let it go.
That's fine. We don't need to go into that. I was scarred enough for sex ed in high school, so yeah, we don't have to go through that.
Yeah. God, what does sex ed in Star Wars look like with as many species as they are?
Well, excuse me. I think they all practice abstinence in Star Wars.
It is a very chaste universe.
That's true. It's very sexless, except for that one time, and it did not go well for the universe.
Yeah. No.
That's why they outlawed sex after that. They're like, nobody allowed to have sex. Only clones.
This is something I do love about the show, is that most episodes, when an arc is finished, they end very similarly with a group of people standing...
Swell of music, and everyone's like, well, what are you looking at? Okay, bye. Yeah, in summary, it was it was a movie destined to be a show that was eventually a very good show. But you really don't need to watch this movie to really appreciate the show.
Unless you really want to go through the whole process, go through the whole thing.
That's true. In which case, if you're listening to this, you've already watched the movie, and maybe
and so you don't have to do it again.
That's right. Never again. And yeah, I guess and I probably will never watch this again.
Yes, he says, knowing it will end up on rotation.
Well, possibly.
And Matt Lanter. Okay, I got to remember.
Yeah, and it was a Matt something, because I'm a Matt,
Yeah.
and he's a Matt, and all us Matts stick together.
So this has been fun. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug?
Like always, no, I do not. I just want to say thank you, Lucas. Even though this is a subpar movie, it was still a great time, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, I'm glad that you're sticking around. We will be back after the new year for Revenge of the Sith. Everyone, have a good day.
Adios.